What is good, guys? This is Steven with All Talk On, and today I have a $650 build. Right now we're clocked in at about $647.92, and this is a pretty intense build for $650 if I do say so myself. Basically, we're looking at almost the exact same thing that I have in my computer, more or less. Mine was a little bit more expensive. Mine cost about $810 as base. I did end up putting in a little bit more money into fans and a few other little cosmetic things that I do like to have. As well as my power supply was a lot more expensive because I did opt out for fully modular and 80 plus gold. But this is definitely an amazing computer. Definitely will get you started if you want to start a YouTube channel, want to start editing videos, recording gameplay, 1080p, 60 frames per second, recording while holding 60 frames per second in game. Like Titanfall, you guys see my gameplay, that's all recorded 60 frames per second, 1080p, as well as it's all rendered and exported as 1080p as well. So it is an amazing setup right here. So let's get started. First thing we have is the AMD FX 320. I said that a little bit weird. 8320. The FX 8320 Black Edition. Now this is an amazing processor, I know from experience, because I have one in my computer right now. Now I get to actually give you guys a little bit of reference from things that I actually own. So it's an AM3 Plus socket at clock speed at 3.5 gigahertz and turbos up to 4.0 gigahertz. I did not go with the 8350 because honestly the 8350 is clock speed of 4.0 gigahertz and over to 4.2 at the turbo clock, which isn't too big of a difference, but it is definitely a little bit bigger in price difference because right now $139.99 with minus $13. If you take this promotion code to Newegg and type it in where it says promotion code, you get this processor for $126, which is less than I paid for it. So kind of jealous, you guys. These are pretty power hungry processors with these AMDs, so keep that in mind, as well as the stock cooler isn't always the best. These FX processors like to run a little toasty, but regardless, you will be fine with that cooler it comes with. I wouldn't suggest overclocking on it though. But anyways, you guys, that's the processor, the 8320, and like I said, from experience, I know it's a great processor. Next, we are looking at the motherboard. We have the MSI 970A G43 full-size ATX motherboard, not ATX XL or anything like that. Nothing crazy, you guys. So it's the AM3 Plus socket as well. It's on the 970 chipset, which I actually have a motherboard on the 970 chipset as well. Mine was a little bit more pricey, had a little bit more features, as well as it, I guess the reliability of it was a little bit better too, and I guess just maybe made with slightly better components, but this is definitely a decent motherboard. The chipset is not bad. It's not the greatest, but it's nowhere near the worst. We're looking at DDR3 speeds from 1066 to 2133 for your RAM, 32 gigabytes of max memory, supports RAID, and supports Crossfire, and has SATA 6 gigabit per second plugs. It has 6 of them, and onboard USB 3.0 because you guys know, gotta have it. It's manufactured by MSI. They're trusted for their motherboards, you know what I mean, as well as a lot of the other stuff they put out. So I don't think you'll be seeing any issues with this unless you accidentally get a bad one, which, you know, sorry, I guess it happens. Crap happens, dude. Send it back, get a new one. Anyways, you guys, we're looking at $54.99 from Newegg. With free shipping, so you know, hop on that one. It's not the most expensive motherboard. If you do plan on overclocking, I would suggest you spend more than $54 on your motherboard. Just saying, a little bit of help there from me, just so you don't screw anything up. It's never fun to find out the hard way. Anyways, next we have the G-Skill Sniper Series RAM. Basically, it's 8 gigabytes, 2x4, because I always go for the dual channel, just in case you don't want to upgrade anytime soon. Better than being stuck with one RAM. And if you do want to upgrade, it has 4 slots, so you can just throw another 2 in and have 16 gigs and be fine. This is DDR3 1866 memory. You can definitely drop down to 1600, but AMD does like the 1866. It does run natively on it as well. If you are going to mess with the motherboard, make sure that it does support 1866 speeds, because if not, you'll be running at 1600 and paying for the 1866 RAM, which is just pointless. So I mean, yeah, it's good RAM. Honestly, I'm actually going to be looking at overclocking my RAM a little bit. I have 1866, but I'm thinking I might want to jump it to 2133 or 2333 or whatever number it is. I think it's 2133. And yeah, I mean, we're looking at a CAS latency of 9, and this is great RAM. Next we have the hard drive. It's my same hard drive that I always put in a build when I go for, you know, a terabyte worth of space. It's the Toshiba, it doesn't really have a name, I guess. It's just the 1 terabyte 7200 RPM, SATA 6 gigabit per second, 32 megabytes worth of cache from Toshiba for $49.99 at NCIX US, and that's the hard drive. There really isn't too much to talk about it. You guys want to see how I feel about Toshiba, go watch my $500 build. Next we have the graphics card. It is the XFX Radeon R9 280X, and this is one of the lower clocked cards that is overclocked. We're only looking at 850 megahertz. Is that even overclocked? That should be overclocked. I don't know. I could have swore the stock clock on the 280 was 850 megahertz, but either way, it is an overclockable card. You can go a little bit bigger on it. If you guys don't know the differences between graphic card manufacturers and brands, between Sapphire, Asus, Gigabyte, EVGA, Zotac, and all those brands and stuff, Power Color, what you're basically getting different from each brand is the cooler on it. I'm just giving this, I know there's a lot of people out there that know that already, but basically the main difference is the cooling, I don't know how to describe it, the cooler, the heat sink, the fans, the cooling solution, there we go, the cooling solution that the individual brand went with. So XFX actually has one of the cooler looking ones, I think, at least in my mind. It's not too flashy, but it's nice and simple and sleek, which is awesome looking, and it is very space conservative, more or less. It is 11 and a half inches long, but as far as like bulky with weird things sticking out of it and all that crazy goodness, it's not like that. But it is 3 gigabytes of GDDR5. Once again, like I said, these cards take up so much power. We're looking at a TDP of 250 watts, and it'll probably exceed that if you max this out, by the way. Keep that in mind when you're buying your power supplies. Always give it an extra 20-30 watts over what it says TDP is, because the chances are if you try to run like, benchmarks and stuff, you might hit a little bit over that depending on card from card. But basically, like I was getting into, the brand difference, basically it's all the same chip inside of these GPUs. The only thing that really changes for the most part is the cooler that they use. Sometimes they do make their own PCB boards for it. PCB board, if you don't know what that is, basically the thing that the chip sits on. It's like the GPU's motherboard, is I guess we can call it. But we're looking at $224.99 from NCIX with free shipping. So definitely a great card. I'll have you 1080 gaming on high ultra settings on like every single game you'll be maxing out. It's amazing. It really is. Like I said, from experience, I have a 280X. Mine's a little bit more intense than this one, but speaking from experience with the 280X, it is an amazing card. Next we have the case. The same case I went with in my $500 build. It is the Deep Cool Tesseract SWATX mid-tower case, and I went with it again because it has 2 LED fans, which means I don't even care that they're LED, but it has 2 fans, which is always nice when a case comes with more than 1 fan. And they are LED if you do like the glowing stuff. It has a case window, as well as that window has mounts and honeycomb little cutouts so that you can put a fan there and still get some nice decent cooling in there for your FX 8280 the AMD FX 8320. So it's nice to have those in there. We have 2 optical drive bays and 4 hard drive bays, as well as it supports ATX micro, ATX, and mini ITX motherboards, and it has USB 3.0 front header, because that's what I love to see in a case and a motherboard. And also it's a 12.2 inch maximum size graphics card, which can fit practically any graphics card in there, a majority. And the main thing I like about this case is it is only $29.99 with free shipping from Newegg. So check that beast out, you guys. If not, cases are personal preference. You can pick another case. You don't have to go with this one, but this is just the cheapest case with the most features that I could find, and it is awesome and I love it. And I said in my other video, I did buy this case. So, I'll make a video of, I don't really want to do an unboxing. I'm not really a fan of unboxings, and if I do an unboxing video, it won't literally be me taking it out of the box. It'll just be like a review like me showing you guys and stuff like that. Anyways, next we have the power supply. I did not really cheap out on this. We are looking at an EVGA Supernova NEX 750 watt 80 plus bronze certified semi-modular ATX power supply. So with semi-modular, the only things that do not disconnect from this power supply are the main two power cords. I know in one of my videos I couldn't remember the amount of pins was on the main motherboard plug-in connector thingy-majigger, and I know it's 24 now. I was saying 22 and 28, so yeah, I was looking like a dumbass, and I'm not going to go back and correct it because I don't feel like doing that. But basically, you are going to be using the 24 pin connector, as well as it does come with a 4 pin plus 4 pin connector. So basically, the other pin lead comes off, and it's two little 4 pins that stick together like magic and make an 8 pin connector. So you are going to be using both of those. So other than that, everything else unplugged. So take off what you don't need. This is semi-modular, 750 watts and 80 plus bronze, and it is EVGA. Once again, trusted brand. More than enough power. Don't listen to anyone that tells you can last on a 600 watt bronze. Don't do it. Just don't. Just in case, you guys always go a little bit higher in your power supply. I can't stress enough how important that is. But you know, sometimes it does happen. I mean, I got away with my PC with a 600 watt from Corsair bronze modular, the CX 600, and I had no problem. But I will say this: I'm afraid to benchmark anything on it because I do not want to max everything out at 100% and fry anything, or basically just, you know, crash my computer. I'm not trying to do that. So I would suggest going for a 750. That way you know that this power supply is not going to be the issue with your PC. Next, we're looking at the price of $64.99 with a $20 mail-in rebate from nzxt. Definitely something I would look into for that rebate. It's $20, why not? But either way, we're looking at $65, and that's what I have it priced at for this build. Next and last, we have the optical drive. I went with the LG Optical Drive. It's $14.99 from nzxt. There's a bunch of numbers and letters, but honestly, I'll give them to you guys so you can look them up. It's the LG GH24NSBO DVD/CD writer. Yeah, annoying, right? SATA 3 gigabits per second, and I mean, it's your optical drive. There's nothing, you know what I mean? There's nothing too flashy about it. Anyways, you guys, we're looking at $647.92 for this entire build. Like I said, from experience, I can speak about the parts in here. I don't have the exact parts besides the processor, but I mean, I have a 280X, which is the same chip as that one right there, just different brands. And I can tell you right now, I'd max everything out. You guys see my game recordings; they're all recorded 60 frames per second, 1080p, while playing Titanfall. You know what I mean? And recording audio as well. I just don't include the audio in there. I actually mute it out so you can hear my voice talking. But basically, I can speak from experience that this is an amazing PC for $650. And if you are looking to get into, like as a beginner, looking to get into some moderate gaming, as well as have the power of editing and video, messing around with this stuff, I guess. I don't know really how to put it. If you want to do some standard video editing stuff, this is definitely where to go. I would suggest getting 16 gigabytes of RAM because it does help. I've noticed while playing Titanfall, I've almost maxed out 8 gigs of RAM by having a bunch of Google Chrome tabs open, Action Recorder, and Reaper DAW or DWA, basically audio workstation, recording my audio through my microphone, as well as having a Steinberg audio interface plugged in with the panels open. Basically, I was at like 88% RAM usage, which is pretty intense. But I mean, even doing that, I'm still hitting them 60 frames per second. So keep that in mind. This is an amazing computer. And this is Steven with All Talk On, and I'll catch you guys later.